Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There will be strong language and adult themes.
Hello, and we have Purple missing her own anniversary.
What a bitch.
Let's see here. We have in the chat. We have Healing Granny, Pragmatic Crystal, Deep State 8-person. I'm sure they're pretty nice. Let's see, Greg Hartwick, this Jenni Morgan person. We really need to get around to banning that one. And Majestic P Beck.
I'll leave any time. I could be sleeping right now.
I've got nothing better to do because my employer is stupid. So I have a doctor certificate that will last until June 6th. But since I went to get a physical and they need a note from a doctor that I gave them and they want to punish me, I've missed I'm going to miss 4 days of work, probably 5, and have to give up my car.
You're definitely having a suck time then, I guess. How's everybody doing in the chat here? Gang watch for ice. I wouldn't be surprised if they start going after your trans people. Anything interesting going on with you, with either of you here, other than suck?
No, I'm just basically fearing for my life. There's a trans woman who, gosh, is in Florida. Huh. Why would she be in Florida? Nobody with a brain understands why. But anyways, she was arrested for being trans while in a bathroom. And she expects to be convicted and sent to a men's prison.
Oh, jeez.
Attaway, Florida. And I'm sure Florida is thrilled about it because Florida is a state full of nothing but shit.
And me.
Yeah, and you.
Yeah, Florida is the schlong of America. It's the dick of America.
It's the turd stuck out of the asshole that won't come off.
Yesterday I was watching a stream. They were joking around about making everything in the shape of Texas, and I was just thinking, well, if they made dildos, Florida would be much more popular than Texas.
Although Texas would be good shape for a spanking device. Well, never mind. I won't go into that.
Yeah, you go. Spank yourself with Texas and frig yourself with Florida.
So, there's going to be probably by the end of the week, if not next week, I'm going to be putting my first 3D model on sale on SoulStrider and Skitzcrasher. It's an updated version of that ship I made for a show that they mentioned, but I've redesigned it.
Yeah, cool.
And I just have to make my own mesh of a few things that weren't mine so that I can legally sell it. Like the guns and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No, what is this you're selling? A ship? You built a ship?
3D model. Yes. But it's like a 3D model of a... basically, what you get when you cross the Enterprise with a Star Destroyer and a Nebulon B frigate.
Oh, so it's a thing that doesn't exist that you're hoping to get way too much money for.
Let me see if I can find an image of it and present it.
It's an NFT.
And this is not like the
No,
no.
it's a 3D model, so people could download it, pay her money, and then use it in their own stuff. So it's
Mhm.
actually useful, unlike an NFT.
Every NFT can always be a background.
I'm presenting the shit.
Oh, that's a neat combination.
Let me see if I can find one that's more vibrant in terms of
I
color,
can't see it at
because that
all.
one was dull.
I
Let
can't see.
me present another one.
I can't see it at all. So that means it's really not real. It's so not real. It's real, really not real.
Here's another one. Okay. I don't like.
Now, if this looks like a giant golf cart, I'm going to laugh. I just want you to know that.
So it's kind of from this angle, it's kind of butt plug shaped.
Oh, well, you're into what you're into. Are we going to get to see it, or just imagine we're seeing it? Which, I mean, it's fine because it's not there.
There it
so-
is.
You can't see that.
No,
It's up on the screen. It's up on the
no,
screen
it's
right
not. No, it's not.
now. I'm looking at the stream. On
I
YouTube,
don't
and
care. It's not here.
It's up on the screen. I don't know what to tell you.
Well,
I'm looking at this. It's on StreamYard, so I see it on my YouTube StreamYard. So it's up on the screen there. It's up on the screen on StreamYards in here. It's up on YouTube. It's right in front of me. It's on the screen. It's presented. I don't know what you're looking at.
we've been able to look at everything we've ever put up on screen to look at on StreamYards, and now suddenly this we can't.
It is. It's on right now.
It is not on StreamYards.
Yes, it is. I'm looking. Commander, do you
Are
see
you
it?
telling me I don't know what I'm seeing?
Commander,
Yes, I do see it.
So Jenny, you're the only one who's not seeing this, apparently.
I think you're all lying to me. You're just fucking with my head.
Okay, chat. Do you guys see this on YouTube? If you guys, I think I think you might be having issues there, Jenny, with StreamYards.
Mm-hmm. Okay, see you later.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay, so the chat can see it. Captain Dev, hello.
that's probably good enough now to put up, but the back part, I wanted to redesign it so that it basically, my original intent is it's going to have the width and length proportions of the Enterprise E and height, but it's going to be more Star Warsy.
Yeah, I want to try something here. If I accidentally make you Commander, just come back in, okay?
All right.
Let's see. Shoot, it did. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay, I guess I can't do that. Well, Commander, if you can come back in. Sorry about that. I was trying to get rid of the excess. Sorry about that. I was trying to get rid of the excess images you had setting up there. And apparently, if I try to do it, it's just going to kick you entirely.
Okay, now I have uploaded two different images from two different sources into the chat, direct chat.
Okay.
Put one of those up on screen because I reloaded StreamYards too.
Yep. Give me a minute here. Yeah, we'll use this one. Okay. To pretend screen. It's kind of a small image, but okay. Now it's presented. It's on screen.
Yeah, that I see.
Okay. Well, Grant, why don't you try putting those ships back up? It's the ones we're looking at there, the higher quality ones. We'll see if we can.
All right.
Yeah, while we're waiting, might as well look at the other. No, there is. Okay. Now, do you see that?
Nope.
Huh. So apparently, when someone else presents something, it's not going through for you for some reason. Well, everybody else can see it. So.
Well, to try another
Hmm.
image that isn't mine, isn't captain's, and let's see it, or commander. I'm sorry, you're more than just a mere captain.
All right, I'll do the other one that you put up. And present.
Yep, I see that.
All right, so you can't see whatever captain presents or a guest presents. That's interesting.
Put up something of yours in there.
Of mine?
Uh-huh.
Well, it'd be the same thing as what I'm doing with your stuff.
Yes, and I'm sure it's the same thing you're doing with commanders, but let's see it happen. We're trying to track this down.
It would be exactly the same as.
Now, you don't know that until we do it. It's like you don't know your DNA until you have it tested. Put it up there.
Yes, I do.
Why are you fighting me on this? It's just putting it up there. Come on.
So I'm wasting fucking time here.
Oh, we got 2+ hours.
All right, I'll do the. Because this is still going to be presented through me, just like the other images.
Yep, I see it. So now we've narrowed it down to I only have a problem with commander stuff.
I could have told you that before he did that.
Well, don't get upset. I don't just make these assumptions. I want to see. Now we have seen.
Well, we did see before because there's the other two images were through me as well.
You're
I was presenting them.
Commander, what file format are those images you drew?
My PNG.
PNG? Well, let's see. I believe that. All right, let's see if I can find a PNG then and see what happens. Let's see here. I believe the AI art is usually in PG form. Let's find a good one. Okay, there's a PNG
Let me
file.
find
Okay, here is a.
me find Nate.
There, that is a PNG
Yep.
file.
Yep,
You see?
that one I see.
Okay, so it's just through Commander. There's a PNG file.
I'm gonna send Mage the
Alright.
image so
Alright.
that
All right, let me get the Discord back up. All right, you can take over. You're purple.
Oh, no, I had no intention of doing that.
I sent Mage a private message in.
Yeah, I see it.
No, I was just going to hang out on the sidelines here. I had no intention of doing anything here today.
You can't miss your own anniversary show.
There, you can see that one.
That I can see.
All right, so whatever I present, you can see for some reason, but you can't see Commanders.
I
Okay.
see two spaceships, whoever's putting that up there.
Well, that is
Yeah,
interesting.
a
I like it.
No,
redesign of that.
Actually, this is a good way to test something. Commander, put your image back up again. So let's see if Purple can see it.
Nope, I'm just seeing the four
Oh,
circles.
hold on.
Oh.
She hasn't gotten it yet.
Okay.
Okay. Now, do you see that purple?
Yeah, the same ships.
Okay.
Yep.
Jenny, do you see it?
Nope.
So it's just on
Huh.
your end, Jenny.
That's weird.
Yeah, I'm gonna be putting those up for sale on Sketchfab
That's
and
That's the one I'm presenting.
on
Now I
CG
see it.
Trader.
Now I see it.
Yeah, there's something going on with your end there, Jenny.
Okay, sure. Whatever.
Because everybody else can see it, but you.
Oh.
I don't think one file from one person is my problem. I think it's something from their end of it. Not necessarily the file, but if they were uploading it themselves and they couldn't see it, and I couldn't see it, maybe that's the issue. We haven't tracked it down yet.
I could see it.
You can
Well,
see
hold
your
on.
file. Jenny,
You originated it. Of course you could see
Purple
it.
can see it. I can see it. You're the one who can't see it.
Well, do the people on YouTube see it?
People on YouTube could see it.
I think Commander's blocked me. I think that's what it is.
No, I haven't.
I'm just teasing. Well, that is weird as fuck.
Okay, well, what happens if I try
This
to
one
share
I
That's a good question. Let's see what happens with. That's no, you can't see it, Jenny. We'll just.
Okay.
There's the other one for everybody else.
Yeah, I have to remove your ship before I can put one up. Okay, Jenny, can you see the cartoon I put up?
Yes, about your vibrator.
Yep. Okay, so that's weird. It seems to only be between Jenny and Commander. Any other combination works.
I've never had a problem with the PNG file before.
It might not be the file type. It might be the StreamYards or some kind of other presentation thing. Also, it might be that we can see it because
you're
we're
both
admins.
administrators.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, well, that's why I was asking if the people on YouTube could see it.
Yeah, the people on YouTube could see it.
See, that's weird, though, that if the people on YouTube could see when Commander's presenting it, then it doesn't make sense that Jenny can't.
Sounds like it might be a StreamYards issue.
Yeah, it sounds like StreamYards has done some, bizarre thing, like put some kind of restriction or something there.
Okay, well, we have a dilemma and we have enough information that I can report it to StreamYards and make sense of it for them.
Yeah. Yeah, they always have that thing for when you log off if you want to make suggestions, so you can report it there.
So you can't see what guest images and stuff that guests are presenting.
Well, make sure that you say that.
I wonder if Jenny
you're on the
presents
panel.
something with her. I can see it.
I don't
Yeah,
have
that's
the
a good-
option of presenting anything.
Oh, you don't have the present button?
Yeah, I'm betting the problem is because Jenny's on a mobile device and not on a computer.
I bet that's the issue. This is probably an issue with the app.
Yes, StreamYard has a habit of screwing up mobile devices.
Was your penguin in the big bot bot cage, whatever the fuck you call it, the same file format, a PNG?
Well, the penguin and the power limit, that's actually an MP4. Like this right now, this is an MP4, and I'm just switching between an MP4 with the mouth open and an MP4 with the mouth closed using my audio to control the mouth.
Very interesting.
Oh, yeah, weird.
Well, I like your ship. That's kind of cool. But it's so dark in space.
Yeah. Reggio says, have been in another stream where someone had a similar issue through StreamYards that they had to watch it through the YouTube stream. So it's not just Jenny. That definitely sounds like it's a StreamYard issue.
Oh, but it's more fun to blame me and yell at me and stuff.
No, I
Oh,
always,
it's not your
I
fault.
always prefer to blame a big company when I can. I have just been running around fanatically.
What are you doing?
Well, they moved up my apartment inspection by a week, so trying to get this all done and yeah.
I woke up about an hour
I'm
before the stream started.
I'll probably wake up about an hour after it started.
Go ahead, Jen.
I'm
Commander.
just wondering, why are they inspecting your apartment?
It's an annual thing. Every year they go through all the units.
Federally subsidized housing is always
because
inspected.
Of subsidized housing, yeah.
What a pain in the ass.
Well, and then the fun part is that next week they're inspecting my apartment. Of course, they're coming on Wednesday. They always come on Wednesdays anytime they do anything in my apartment. So, basically, they'll either wake me up at 9 o'clock in the morning, or they won't get here until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So that could interfere with me being here next week.
I have a friend who lives in our only federally subsidized housing place here, and she gets inspected every year too.
Yep.
Except the inspector lets the red wing people get away with anything, and she's very hard on the liberals.
That figures.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, our building manager has always been good to me, so she seems very good at not letting anybody know what her politics are and just being very non-committal with everyone.
Yeah. Well,
so nobody knows what side she's on.
I hope you get away with the cat.
I'm going to be having somebody else babysit Ethan overnight.
Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So then I would just have the two kitties that they have met both. You know, they've met Sammy and they met Petunia when she was up at Sloth Girls. And then, after all of that is over, then on June 9th, there's going to be, I guess, a fire marshal coming through to, you know, check all the smoke detectors and sprinkler systems.
Oh, goody.
Yeah. So I get to do this twice.
Well, you know what you do for when the person comes in? Have about a half a dozen candles sitting somewhere obvious in the room, and they're burning, and just ask them, could he inspect your fire?
You know, I could put a little table right under the sprinkler head and, you know, put them on there.
That might be a good idea. For a while, anyway.
Hey, they'd know whether or not the sprinkler system works.
They certainly would.
Oh.
Little demon orb.
Excuse me. But Sloth Girl's son is going to be... Actually, Molly's going to go and pick up Sloth Girl's son tonight. So he's going to be over tomorrow to to help me out build an additional storage unit to put stuff away in.
Where are you going to build that?
In the bedroom. I really don't have
Oh.
any storage units in the bedroom yet. All I've got is, bins of stuff stacked up.
God, there's a place down here that sells all kinds of stuff. But they got a stack of pallets. These double wide pallets are like 2.5 times the length of a standard pallet, and so they got nice, real long boards in them, and they're all free. You can have as many as you want. The stack is about 12 feet high.
Damn.
That's a lot of pallets.
Yeah, I'd love to grab some of those.
Yeah.
But mostly I need some more hangar space.
No, don't hang yourself.
Well, before my whole wardrobe was about, 3 pairs of jeans and assorted colored t-shirts. Now I've wound up with so much that, the one little closet I have for it isn't enough. So I need to build something that gives me more place to hang up clothes. And then those little fabric cubes. Basically, they're like little fabric drawers, or it's a cube like 11 inches, 11 inches tall, 11 inches deep, 11 inches wide.
Yeah, I know those.
Yep, and a while ago, Menards had those on a rebate, so I picked up a couple dozen of those, and I just need to build a unit that I can put those into. So it's a pretty simple construction project. Mostly, it just helps to have somebody to hold the board in place while I drive the screws so nothing shifts.
Send me a picture of that cloth thing that you speak of. I'd like to see it.
It's basically like a fabric box.
Yeah, give me a minute. I can pull them up.
That's a terrible image.
Hi, Damon.
I'm gonna find a good image of one. Jeez.
I got it, Mage.
Oh, okay.
Let me just share this page. Oh, I'm apparently still sharing. So, how did I just switch this over to something else?
Go to you can close that up by going to the 3 dot.
Yeah, I just had to shut that one down. And share screen and share a tab.
Put it on screen.
Yep. There you go. See, like the blue one here.
So are they rigid?
Yes, they're basically it's like a little bit of cardboard that keeps them rigid.
Yeah, they actually fold flat, the way they sell them. But yeah, then there's a piece of cardboard that you push down in the bottom, and it makes them hold their shape.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I like those.
I tried using them as for planters. They didn't hold up too well.
Are they out of a woven material or that blown type fabric that you get cheap tote bags in from?
No, the ones I have are it's almost like a lightweight denim.
They do both. I've seen the cheaper ones with what you're talking about. It was like a.
Yeah, I know the Dollar Tree sells some cheap ones, but.
Well, I might investigate that. I need a storage thing myself, so That
Yeah,
looks like it could be quite viable.
Yeah, they're pretty good if you
Yep.
get decent ones.
Do they come in all different sizes, like different heights?
Yeah.
There's like, it depends which brand, but generally there's like the 11-inch ones, and there's like half height ones that are 5.5 inches tall.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yep. But Menards happened to have them on sale, so I grabbed about 2 dozen of them for 99 cents each after the rebate.
Nerds.
Yep. And they just happen to have them in purple.
Oh, well. Are you going to stain whatever you build purple? You should. Or
No,
bright yellow.
no, I've just left all of
Purple
my,
and orange.
I've left all my shelving units, just the white, because that's what the shelving boards just come in, so I don't go through the trouble of painting them then.
I need to get
But
around.
actually, I got a couple of different ones for them, all the same thing, but I do have them in purple, and I have a couple in orange, and then I've got a couple that are in just a steel gray for neutral.
I'd like to build myself a bookcase. And you replace a couple. I have a couple of bookcases in this room. I want to replace them with one big bookcase. It's a little bit bigger, so I have more space to put books.
Well, come on up here. I can show you some pallets for free. Don't bother. I'll just UPS.
I hope you're okay. That sounded like the heavy core.
No, I just it's an allergy thing. I've just got a lot of phlegm in my throat today. Mate, do you know anybody who has tools around there?
Tools?
Yeah.
For
building a bookcase.
Oh, I've got the tools. I just don't have the wood.
Yeah. Well, if you can borrow a pocket hole jig from someone, it makes putting the shelves up really easy.
Oh, I had one of those. I gave it to a friend of mine who's into woodworking, but that thing was very nice. I built all my raised garden things with that pocket system.
Yeah, well, like I said, I've got this whole unit that's like, shelves and holds my 50-inch TV and goes around the corner and has my desk. So it's like 16 linear feet. And I put the whole thing together with the pocket hole screws out of just the, the standard shelving boards that, come pre-finished with the white, the white veneer covering.
Yeah, basically I was thinking about taking the bookcases I have now, using them as a sort of a template for the width and everything. Add another level to it and just make it a lot longer. So it's instead of being 2 bookcases, it's going to be like one big long bookcase. It's kind of what I have in mind.
Yeah, actually, what I had done for Sloth Girl was she just had two cheap 6-foot tall bookcases that were only each like 2 feet wide. So I took the 2 of those and I spread them out and I put 4-foot boards in between them, to hold her TV and give her extra storage space that way. So just out of the 2 2-foot bookcases, I gave her an 8-foot unit.
Yeah, I used to have 3 in here, but one broke, unfortunately.
You still have 2 of them?
I still have 2 of them. I have more. Actually, I do have more bookcases than just 2. There's just 2 in here right now.
Well, if you got the wall space, that would be another real easy way to do it. Is just, spread them out and add shelves in between them.
Well, I would get another one in like what I've got. I just replaced the one that broke, but I can't find them.
Where'd you get them from?
My dad. These were my dad's bookcases, and I basically inherited them, and I don't know where he got them from.
Ah,
The bookcase factory.
well, this my dad must be a chain that we don't have up here in the Midwest.
The Florida bookcase factory. Excuse me, Florida.
So, what's the difference between is there like a difference between IQ and furniture?
The IQ of what?
The furniture, because it's Florida
Oh, okay.
factory.
No, I'm just bitching at Florida right now because of a court case that's going down there.
Well, there's always a good reason to bitch about Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the difference in Florida is that the furniture can outsmart half of the population.
Hey, I heard there a woman fed the alligators in Kissimmee, Florida.
Oh, yeah, that happens.
And what, did she fall in the water and never get out?
Don't know. All we know is that the alligators are smiling and she's not with us any longer. Oh, well.
Now, there's a reason why they say don't feed the alligators. Because if you feed the alligators, it sees people as tired, and then sooner or later,
Yeah.
you feed the
There's-
alligators in the first person.
There's a reason why they say don't go to fucking Florida. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
I was at a little park. We're having lunch, and there were these people. Well, they had a big sign right there. It was "Don't feed the alligators." A bunch of alligators right at the bank, and they're saying they're feeding them, obviously. And they had this little, I'm guessing maybe a 2-year-old, was standing right there next to a particularly large
Oh,
gator. And that gator just happened to decide, oh, we're feeding Chomp.
I would like to share with the chat why I'm hot for Florida these days. As an illustration, folks, of the fact that we've been telling you all these things about how they're going after trans people, but at this point it's all just been, imagining the laws and stuff like that. There's a young woman who has been arrested and is going to be tried in Florida for being trans while in the bathroom.
Yep.
And if she's convicted, she's going to be going to a men's prison. What do you think will happen, folks?
Yeah, pretty good reason. Pretty
Um,
good percentage there for.
Sadly, if what I think will happen to her in prison happens, I'm sure there's a voting majority of people in Florida who will be very happy about it.
Yep.
Probably.
And that, folks, shows you how sick our society has become and how much of a target trans people have become. We went from 0 to 100.
So what happens when someone's in West Virginia and they're using the restroom of their bus and they're ordered to go into the restroom of their choosing?
Huh?
So I'm just imagining that there were some people who transitioned young enough, or from the female to male.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Where
It
they're
doesn't
in a
matter.
state.
It doesn't matter. It's what it's on your birth certificate. Just like they're
No,
like
no,
all
I
the
mean,
women.
how do they enforce it?
I don't know, but they do.
As
Yeah.
Idiotically.
They have genital inspectors.
what
at some
happens
point.
if they're ordered to go into the bathroom that it's illegal for them to do it because they pass so well?
That has been the problem with all these bathroom bills is, how are they going to tell who belongs in which bathroom?
I'm going to go get a link I want to share with the chat. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, who have we got in the side chat here? I see Mathbag and Tori and Demon Orb and Regios, Captive Desk, Greg Hartwick, of course, Pragmatic Crystal,
We already
Majestic
went through
Beck.
everybody.
Okay, but I wasn't here. And Heathen Granny. See, if you had just let me go one more name. So thanks everybody for coming for my anniversary here. I think I should get some type of YouTube plaque, you know, that they give you the ones that, you know, like 10,000 subscribers and so forth. Shouldn't I get some kind of plaque for going 7 years and still not having 700 subscribers?
Well, that's got to be some kind of record.
I would think so.
Oh, you can hear me right now?
I
Yeah.
gotta produce
Oh.
content. Yeah, we can hear you. We love to hear you, believe it or not.
Ah, yes. Trans woman arrested after washing her hands in Florida Capitol women's bathroom.
Yep.
Washing her hands.
Yeah, I heard
Didn't
about
even
that.
go in to pee.
Yep. Well, as I understand it, though, she deliberately did it as a protest. That she had informed the security guard that she was going to do it.
Let's see.
Or maybe I'm thinking of a different case. But yeah, the whole thing's ridiculous because, you know, basically it comes down to like Jenny said, they want to make sure it's the gender that was on your birth certificate. So the only way they could really check it is to force everybody to carry the birth certificate with them if they ever plan to use a public bathroom.
Well, fuck that, because I don't have a birth certificate right now. All I got is a passport that works.
Yep. But a passport won't count because a passport might not have the same gender as your birth certificate. And that's the whole point of this, that this was being a protest thing, is that the laws are unenforceable and they make no sense.
Well, that depends on who you talk to. They make perfect sense to these Republicans.
So I've decided that Don Jr. and Eric, and they are the ugliest butch lesbians, and they're going to go to jail for using the men's bathroom.
Yeah. Well, what has happened with these cases is at least 3 out of 4 times the person they're hassling is a cis woman that just doesn't look feminine enough to someone else. That she doesn't fit the traditional beauty standard of someone else. And of course, no coincidence that this happens more often than not to Black women.
You know, Commander, I think you have a video idea in what you just said.
Yeah, that would be funny. I actually do look like a butch lesbian.
Then you might be tossed out because they like to attack cis women.
Did you hear that Millennia is getting investigated
Who?
for
I'm sorry.
Melania Trump is getting investigated basically for doing a pump and dump of her own Bitcoin thing.
Oh, she won't serve a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't you know all those scams are legal now?
yeah. Well, if you're a Republican, they are. I'm sure if one of the Democratic members of Congress tried it, they'd be going to prison.
So I have a hypothetical. I can't actually figure out how to sell a geocoin on the coin wallet. Someone gave my brother a crap ton of it. I think it's fraud because he has more geocoin than exists in reality, so it was either mined or it's a scam. But going with a scam, but I would like to know how to sell, if anyone knows how to activate something coin wallet. I'll get the info. But it's probably a scam.
Yeah, I don't know. They keep emailing me, telling me that my account that they're going to close my account on Coin Wallet, but I never opened an account on Coin Wallet, so
Then you better check into that and find how they've stolen your identity.
well, apparently all they have is my email because they, never even use a name or anything with it. So I think it's more likely a phishing scam of somebody who's trying to get my name and password.
Sounds like it.
Okay, you guys in chat, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
You guys in chat, I'm sending I thought I was sending a link.
Oh, so now we've got the missing link?
No. Just settle down.
Now, see, I still have my idea that I really think we should do.
Damn it.
I just, I need somebody who could actually, like press coins because I think that we should make physical coins that have like Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster and UFOs on them and sell them as cryptid coins.
Well, you gave me $10,000. I'm pretty sure I could figure it out, but that's roughly an estimated cost of. I don't have a CNC machine that
Yeah.
mill out the die, so that's like $4,000 for the milling machine. Basically $200 for the metal. And
Yeah.
I'm just guessing you could find a press.
Well, that's what I mean. I just haven't found a way to, that we could do it on a small scale.
Custom die struck challenge coins. Custom coins. Yeah, there's plenty of. Looks like there's plenty of different places that you can make custom coins from.
And also for about $4,000, you can get a machine that lasers off the coins. It's slower than being able to press them, but it still would work.
Yeah, I was looking at those, but yeah, they're still out of my budget.
And you know that I do have the ability to make a 3D mess. You've all seen the Ukraine coin and the Trump Antichrist coin in one of the videos that I actually turned into a 3D printed object. So if you got a coin, if you got one of those machines, I got the file to blaze it out.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know why I can't copy the URL from this Pink News is where I'm getting this from, an English online magazine for LGBT. But if you do a search on those words, you will go probably right to the article. And it's actually a page that has a large number of articles all about how the bathroom bill is a lie, how it was made up. Nobody seems to believe me when I say that, but there's the evidence. 4, 5, 6 articles there that all say the same thing. So
So
take that and
here's
read it,
some-
folks.
Wait a minute. What do you
So
mean that?
here's some scientific fact. Uncharity kills libido. And if you kill the drive to do bad things will happen.
Yep.
But bad things probably wouldn't have happened even without the HRT, because not everyone is a sexual predator.
Yeah, Jenny, what do you mean that people think you made it all up?
There's all kinds of anti-LGBT people that say, "Oh, that's not true." It's absolutely true. They've been to surveys and studies, and no, there haven't. It's just a bunch of
Anti-trans
bullshit.
group
Yeah.
admits bathroom predator myth is made up. Is that what you're looking for?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I also found a NBC News article about the case you were talking about. Trans student arrested for violating Florida bathroom law. Marcy Reinchen. I'm not sure how to pronounce that last name. Rheintgen.
For fuck's sakes, you scroll up so that we can see her,
I
because I couldn't really tell. Was that a picture for there,
This is
or was it someone else?
no, this isn't the person. The anti-trans ad was slammed as fear mongering by a trans campaign, and this is just a stock image thing apparently, or thing from the ad.
Yeah. It never winds up being a trans person. Every time they catch another child predator, it winds up being either a member of clergy or a member of Congress.
So it's an anti-trans group has acknowledged the failure of bathroom and predator scaremongering tactics in the Massachusetts referendum on transgender rights and protections. The realization came as part of an analysis. So the failure of the anti-trans campaign published on the website of Mass Resistance, an organization claiming to advocate for family rights, is first reported by the Into, who the hate crime watchdog Southern and Poverty Law Center classify as mass resistance as an anti-LGBT hate group. The question of repealing a non-discrimination law protecting transgender rights was posed in the ballot during November midterm elections. Voters in Massachusetts overwhelmingly opted to keep Senate Bill 2407, the 2016 measure that enforces these protections against discrimination in places of public accommodation, resort, or amusement. Mass Resistance describes an argument. You wanted to say something, Jenny?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just wanted to finish my presentation of this.
Oh.
Like I said, there's a number of articles, and I'm just going to read you a few titles. Mass Resistance described arguments based on bathroom predator scenarios as concocted, in quotation marks. The next one that you find, our side, a quote from the people who are guilty. Our side concocted the bathroom safety male predator argument as a way to avoid uncomfortable battle over LGBT ideology and still fire up people's emotions. Okay, and let's see. Empirical research shows bathroom predator claims are baseless. And let's see, that's the only ones I can find linked to this article this time. But seriously, folks, take the time to go and read those and prepare yourself with hard, cold facts and start presenting this, because we are going down in a pool of blood. Okay. And this is, it's time for people who say they're allies to get ready to take action, because there is death occurring. Okay, there
Yep.
was another woman in Georgia who very recently was beaten to death because she was trans. She also happened to be one of the contestants in the Miss Trans Georgia contest or something like that. She was she was a model and a very, very attractive woman. But they didn't think that she needed to live anymore, so they beat her to death. And then there was those two, and the one in New York and the one in DC. It's just happening all over, folks. Almost every week goes by, and we have another report of a murder of a trans person. So please, if you care about us at all, you got to get on the phone. You got to get on the goddamn email and write your legislators and scream the hell and fuck out of them. Okay, this is life and death now, folks. This is not imaginary.
And also that picture there, that is, a lot of people think that when someone says trans, it's just someone who's just, well, you know, where they're like that picture there, where it's just some crazy guy in a lockover.
Yeah, apparently this is no one in 3 key MAC if YouTube. It's like the mass resistance analysis on the anti-trans campaigns and defeat criticize is the focus on, and the so-called old bathroom say if the argument and the baseless claim that non-discrimination laws expose those women only spaces into sexual predators during the referendum campaign. Anti-trans groups to produce a visual interpretation of the argument, creating a video ad that trans campaigner is criticized as fear-mongering and relying on lies. That's probably what we're looking at here. It's a shot from that thing. The video featured a scene in which a man hides in a toilet cubicle as a teenage girl walks in and begins to undress as the man peers out of the cubicle. Well, the man is resistant which does not have an author, but presumably reflects the viewpoint into the group found under President Brian Kamenecker described the bathroom safety argument as technically true, but it was largely contrived.
It's not basically true at all, folks. I mean, I'm sure that's what you read, but it's not true at all, folks. Not a little bit.
Well, that's what the group founder was saying. No. So no, it's not true.
And now the other thing I just want to draw to people's attention about this, as you go down these articles, take a look at the day that they were written. You're going to find them from 2017, 2018, 2020. Okay, this has been going on this long, and now it's becoming a critical factor. It took that long for the laws and everything to bubble through the courts and stuff, and now that's why they're coming for us now.
Yeah,
they can.
And this particular one I'm reading. This particular one I'm reading is from 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like from the 1920s or even earlier, not until like 2010 something or other, that any laws against trans people is like almost 100 years of not harassing.
Yep. Well,
it's all linked to the Title 19 regulations and stuff that once Trump the Supreme Court has ruled every time that Title 9 is enforced when it comes to trans people's rights and things. But Trump decided that they didn't want that anymore, so they sent it to their hand-picked Supreme Court that was bought and paid for by the Republicans, and have decided to redefine everything. Which is why we don't exist, and they are trying to define us as terrorists, and
Yep.
they're trying to define us as fraudulent. Okay, so they have reasons to fine you big time and to throw you in jail big time. Okay, but no trans woman gets thrown in male's prison is going to last big time.
Yeah. Well, and now with everything Trump's doing, they're just going to want to send you down to the prison in El Salvador.
Yeah. Now
And
I go ahead.
for anyone who has not been fully paying attention, Trump has had a federal judge arrested.
2.
Oh, 2 of them now?
Yeah, they got 2 of them now.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, yeah. One of them they picked up, and they actually picked her up and booked her.
The one who was arrested in Milwaukee, since I know Milwaukee and have many contacts, I went and checked on it with some lawyer friends and stuff. I wasn't familiar with this woman, but they all were, and said that she has an absolutely sterling reputation, and everybody respects her to death. And according to that particular case, what happened is this person who was the target of ICE was in court for something with her. Okay, it was something unrelated to refugee status or anything like that, if I recall. And he was found not guilty, and so therefore you get to go home. And through the typical exit that all defendants use when they're, convict or not convicted, so that they can go and get their stuff out of the prison, went out that door instead of the main door. And because she let them out through that door, which she does with every damn person in her courtroom, they decided they're going to charge her. And so that's the basis of their charge. That her act of doing that,
Yep.
of letting the person through this door instead of that door, is what. And by the way, the hallways to those 2 doors are connected.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
Okay.
To kind of clear up part of that, basically the hallway was declared a public space, so the ICE Gestapo was waiting right in the hallway to grab this guy after his court hearing. And after the head of court, or the judge said, go through this door over here, which is usually reserved for, or I don't remember what it's reserved for, but it was usually reserved for other things instead of the main doors. So he went out that door, and of course the thing goes back around to the main hall anyway. That's where they picked him up.
Well,
So they tried to say that she was trying to interfere with their arrest by having him go out the other door.
Yeah, the ICE agents had wanted to handcuff him in the courtroom. So,
for optics.
Yeah.
So they're saying that she was interfering with them arresting him.
Should I finish reading the?
Or they're slowly shut.
Should I finish reading this? The clinical research show bathroom predators claim are baseless, or should we move on to something else?
No, I think we had that, but
yeah, no, we got the general idea of it. It's up to you.
I'll skip it then.
I was waiting for you to close that. I was going to present this. This is the young woman in Florida that got arrested for using the Capitol bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how long is she going to look at her? How long is she going to last in a men's prison?
Yeah, well, and I think she is still a teenager. That she's only like 17 or 18.
Oh, wait a minute. That's right. When they go into prison, they'll be cutting all her hair off. How about that, folks? They won't even let them be who they are as they go to slaughter.
So where's I gotta find which tab I've got. There it is. Yeah, but this is from NBC News, and this is, like I said, I'm not sure how to pronounce this last name. RHEINTGEN.
Let me see it.
Okay, it says she's 20.
Or is it?
Reinken. Probably.
Yeah, I'm not good. I'm not good at pronouncing names either.
It looks like the name is probably German or
Hmm. Yeah. So, like I've said several times to folks, this is becoming real now, and on the outside of prison, people haven't been thrown into prison are dying because of murder, and now this is happening, and we're going to die of murder in prison. I am one of the lucky people that I pass well enough that I haven't been questioned in decades. Okay.
no.
But I certainly can look in the mirror and see things about myself that I would notice if I was somebody else and say, oh yeah, they're probably trans, because I can see those things.
Yep.
So that means maybe people in Wisconsin and Minnesota are just too courteous to say anything, and don't feel threatened because I'm this old gray-haired granny on a cane who can barely get along. And so I've been getting away with it because of that, which is just as bad as somebody getting busted.
I can't speak for Wisconsin, but people in Minnesota just don't seem to give a shit.
No, they don't. And I'm in a red county and nobody gives a shit.
Yeah. Okay, while we were mucking around with all that, Antjer is here, and Antjer did post a link to the article in Pink News and also to the transposition show where they talked about that a couple of weeks ago.
Hooray, Aunt Jer.
So we now have Antjer and Harmonica Man and My Unfinished Journey have joined us.
Yeah,
Welcome.
hang on to that link, people. Pass it around. That's the most damning news against these bills that we can find, is the people who actually did it admitting they faked it. Okay?
Yep.
This just is not a real issue.
And if people were not aware of it, hate mongering and lies is the motto of the Republican Party now.
That's secondary to their main mission, which is cruelty is their mission. I mean, is their goal, and eradication is their mission.
Yep. And that's the real
With his
problem.
side. Oh, sorry. Continue, Papa.
That's the real problem with the MAGA people, is that even when they know that they're hurting themselves, they don't care. You know, they will literally shoot themselves in the foot if they think it lets them own the libs.
I own the libs, man. You don't even own your own brain,
Yeah.
Buster.
Well, a lot of them now don't even own their own farm because of Trump's policies.
Yeah, well, they voted for that.
You mean they put their racism ahead of their own money?
Yep,
for now?
they do. Why do you think so many of them voted for Trump a second time?
And now we're going. But wait, not
Yep.
Me? No, not me.
Yeah, and well, since some of them are getting arrested, and since just in general, consumer prices are up and everything, and it's hitting their wallets. You know, now they're saying that this isn't what we signed up for. We just signed up to be cruel to the brown people and the queers.
Now let's see. I forgot what I was about to say. Never mind.
Oh, and the Republicans also specialize in sucking Vladimir Putin's nuts. That's their side thing.
Yeah, and for people who are calling the left communists,
And
but they're
fascists.
sucking up to Russia.
Well, that's because they don't know anything politically.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like, but well, I mean, I think everybody knows that Russia is a communist country.
No, it's not.
You know,
it's fascist.
Yeah.
There's almost no difference when you come right down to it. Because in communism, a handful of people control everything and everyone breaks it. And in fascism, the end result is a handful of people control everything and everyone else breaks it. I know in theory, communism never works out the way it's supposed to. I mean, in practice, it never works out the way it's supposed to.
The difference is that by design, communism, or I mean fascism, is going to have a supreme leader who acts as king and does everything by their will. And communism is supposed to be run by a state politburo, where numerous people are on committees and things making these sorts of decisions, not just one single person with a big ass. That's the difference.
Yeah, that's the reason why usually communism on paper.
And then they conflate it all with social democracy, which has nothing to do with either of those, and is what we already have in America, but nobody wants to admit it.
And communism, in theory, is supposed to lead to a stateless, classless society, and instead it leads to the exact opposite thereof. Although most everyone is for.
Yeah, they both in terms of capitalism and what you just said. People ignore human nature and human history, and anytime people get control and power, they want more control and power.
Yep.
That's what humans do. It's what chimps do. It's what gorillas do. We're primates.
Hey, Cindy. Yeah, well, the problem,
Commander, finish. I'm sorry for my delays.
Yeah. That's okay. The problem that, people don't think ahead about with, the communism that, it's a beautiful system on paper, but, unless you're going to have a pure democracy, at some point you're going to wind up having someone to administrate it. And of course, the administrator's always going to keep a little bigger cut for themselves. So then you've destroyed the communist system right there.
Doesn't work with groups larger than Event 60.
Well,
the largest groups it works with is kibbutz in Israel, but that's because you've got people outside the system ready to throw people into prison if they don't honor their contracts with the people in the system.
Yep. Well, I think it could work, with up to about 100, 150, just because, psychology has shown that that's about the number of people that a single person can recognize and acknowledge as being part of their tribe. But as soon as you get beyond that number, then people don't acknowledge it. Yeah, 100 to 150 people.
That's actually been debunked.
Oh?
Yeah, that's not actually true.
What is true then?
Okay.
I don't remember the whole thing, but that was something that came up in an anime about how people being able to remember up to 100, 150 people, thus starts getting wonky afterwards, and that's actually been debunked. I don't remember the details, though.
Oh, God, I first heard that back in the 70s.
Well, I was going to say, I'm probably working with outdated information then if there's been studies to the contrary.
There's a limited number of people. That's why up until the advent of mega churches, your average church community would start to splinter around 200. So there is an upward limit, and then you need to find other means of uniting people. But anyway, we live in a scary, 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 scary world. We really do.
Yeah, it's called the Dunbar number. That's what you were talking about.
Yeah. And, well, unfortunately, the Supreme Court did something really stupid with telling Trump that he couldn't be prosecuted for anything he did while he's in office. Because now he picks and chooses which ones of their orders that he's going to acknowledge or ignore, and they've got nothing they can do.
He cannot do things that are illegal as president.
He's doing them, and they're telling him not to.
Well,
he's ignoring them.
That's a completely different story. That he's ignoring the courts. That's the constitutional issue. That he has trashed the Constitution just by that action alone. But
yeah,
presidential actions, the job title of the president is, he can do this and this and this and this. But if he's outside of that, then he has a problem.
Did you see the interview he had last weekend? That I forget who the reporter was now, but the reporter was interviewing him in the Oval Office and asked him if he had to uphold the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump kept saying, I don't know. I have lawyers for that.
Yeah, that was with Terry Moran from ABC News.
If there were name here, swear to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Yep.
So help you, the magic spaghetti monster. And so the idea that he doesn't know is he doesn't care.
Yeah,
he does know. He also knows how to lie about it.
Well, that was my immediate thought. It's like he doesn't know what it was in the oath of office he took.
Exactly.
Oh, anthropologist. This is from about that Dunbar estimate. The anthropologist is H. Russell Bernard and Peter Kilworth ran a field study in U.S. that came up with an estimated mean number of ties being 290. So that's just the means number. So it could actually go higher than that. So yeah, that kind of blows that whole 150 number out of the water.
I wonder how they test for that. How they determine that number that people are in. It's in their tribe, in their group. What is that again? How they define that?
The number of basically the number of people that you can connect with. The Dunbar or the Dunbar number says that the upper limit is 150, but that this field study basically came up with a mean number of 290.
I would also like to ask what their survey group is, because what about you get the autistic people in there who are going to bring down the average because they'll only recognize about 6.
Yeah, there's lots of variables to it that
there's a lot of
we're
variables.
not knowing.
So basically, but basically it was just saying that we imagine we don't know the upper limit it's here, but the
okay, so we even say that the number on average is about 300.
That's what it seems to say.
Yeah.
See, now what's weird about this is, back when I was in high school, we had a population. It's 3-year high school, just sophomore, junior, senior. Had a population of about 3,500 students, and our class alone was like just under 1,200 students. And I went through my yearbook when I heard that, and I just kind of like mentally tick marked each person that I knew, that I'd had conversations with, that who knew me, we recognized by names and blah blah blah. And it was about 600 or 700. But I was young, my brain wasn't fuzzy, and it was high school, because you're seeing these people every day. And are they my friends now? Do I know them now? No, but back then I certainly did. So I think it's how you define that. How do you know these people? How do you judge that relationship nature?
Yeah, well, in me, I've got the severe facial blindness that at any given point in my life, the number would be a couple of dozen.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's what it's a good illustration of is how people will learn something from the playground, let's say, and how they will consider it to be absolute truth and carry it on for decades and decades with never checking it further, finding out whether they've retracted or something, or new studies and information have come out. But they just make it this social law that this is true, so this is true, even though it might
I'm
not be.
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that that number is going to change over time with attention spans and a whole bunch of other things. Like the average attention span when Lincoln got the Gettysburg Address. You realize how long that is?
The speech.
Yeah.
Now that people's attention span for a lot longer. And we've been trained with Madison Avenue as well as fucking idiot politicians who want to dumb us down to have a much lower attention span to people on the spectrum.
Well, and
Now the hyper focusing, so we will have higher attention span.
yeah, but they're showing that for average people, things like TikTok and short form content, not only is it lowering people's attention spans, but apparently it is also showing precursors for dementia. People who spend too much time on TikTok.
Interesting.
Hey, Porpoise.
And I don't know whether to do this, but I think if I want to save my car, I have to ask. Because of some bullshit with the birth certificate and the doctor who's punishing me for calling too much, I've missed 4 days of work. If anyone can help.
Yes, that is actually the one I was talking about. Interesting. You know that.
Well, and as far as what Jenny was talking about people learning something and not checking it, I will say in my defense that it is something that I learned in the 80s, but I probably haven't checked it since the early 90s. So, that's still me working with information that's 30 years old.
It could have been valid with attention spans and all that back then and then changed today.
Yeah.
Because, well,
that's what I'm saying. That's what was being reported in the psychology stuff, 30 years ago. But if they've done more studies on it, that's probably changed since then.
I can tell you, people today, there's a lot of crazy shit I never thought I'd live to see.
Yeah, there's a lot of crap going on now.
Oh boy, that hole in my one hitter is cleaner than it's been since it was new. How about that? I feel sorry for you folks that enjoy the magic herb but are in a state that doesn't allow it.
It never had much effect on me, so.
I have an occupation that doesn't allow it, even if it is legal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm also in a building that doesn't allow it, even if it's legal. Because apparently this is considered a federal building, so I would have to go out and smoke it in the bus stop shelter.
Well, yeah, but you can. You can go on the public sidewalk on the curb and smoke it there, too. That's not federal-owned property.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I could go out there and smoke it there, but it's not something that I would be prone to doing when it's below zero outside.
Well, I don't know. It's funny, you drive past my friends' federal apartment buildings, which are actually real nice. It looks like they were probably built maybe around 2000 or so. They're very modern. But you drive past and you can see how many people have a fan in the window. That's pointing out, not in.
We almost had it recreationally legal here in Florida in the last election, but seeing as it was a state constitutional amendment that it was going to legalize it, it required a 60% and approval, vote for yes, and it fell like something like 4 or 5% short.
Yeah, I remember that.
So the majority decided it for the or the minority decided for the majority.
Yeah.
I hate it when a state starts decide to fuck around with people and control people based on
Well,
amendments to their constitution that they make up. I mean, constitutions
one of
generally
the reasons,
excuse me, constitutions usually regulate the government from how it can harm us, not individual laws that citizens are not allowed to participate in. Now, of course, I don't know all the constitutions and all the verbiage, but it certainly seems that way, that constitutions are for rights, not preventions, or not prohibitions. Go ahead.
Mage, I have a question. Wasn't that threshold pretty much always there? Because I remember a few years ago they tried to lower that threshold, but it was the Democrats that wanted to stop it for some reason because they thought that.
I'm not sure. I imagine that threshold has always
Threshold.
been there.
Well, and that's common that most states and the federal government need a 2/3 vote to change something that's in the Constitution. And I think that should be that way. Otherwise, they could actually be, changing what are considered the civil rights with a much lower vote.
Yeah, there's also the same situation with the abortion issue here in Florida. It was through a state constitutional amendment that would have required a 60% vote, and it fell just slightly short.
Mm-hmm.
Sinister, I want to hear you sing that. It's amazing how much Trump is getting away without the Republicans demonstrating that they actually have testes. Oh, I heard something.
Well, they don't have any testes.
I heard something. I can't believe it's true because it's so outrageous. But the people who were talking about it seemed committed. No, they may just be very good at telling jokes. But somebody said that J.K. Rowling came out as trans.
I don't know about came out as trans, but somebody did dig up something from her that 5 years ago. She said that she would march to defend trans rights. So yeah, she is like completely flipped.
Yeah, just for public pressure, and she needed to get some friends.
Well, I think it was because that, after the Harry Potter series finished, her newer works weren't selling as well. So she needed to generate some publicity.
Yeah, but she doesn't need to sell anything. She's a billionaire. That never goes away.
Actually, she did drop herself out of the billionaire status at one point.
Oh yeah.
Well, and whether she's a billionaire or not, I mean, look how much money Elon Musk has, and he's still obsessed with money and power. Unfortunately, it
cannot
seems to be
wait and
something of an addiction. Go ahead, Commander.
I can't wait. I can't wait until the Saudis and the North Koreans and the Chinese and the Russians come to collect their debt from Elon with dinosaurs.
Yeah,
Well,
but they're not going to because they're all one big club.
and I think that's a lot of what's been going on with the government and the whole Doge thing and all that is that, that is how the other countries are collecting their debts with Elon and Trump. As they're getting them to manipulate the federal government and the U.S. economy in ways that they like.
Yeah, part of me, well, I know that if I can, I want to get the rocket while it's still possible.
Get the what out? I'm sorry.
The fuck out of America while it's still possible.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Darsky is even giving me his blessings to go to Ukraine.
Yeah.
Mm.
Unfortunately for me, it's just not possible because not many countries are willing to take somebody who has a disability and very limited income.
Well, that's for the kind of immigration where you're coming as a day-to-day regular person and you're planning to become a citizen and all that stuff. They want somebody who's young. They want somebody who's employed and they can bring resources to the country. That makes sense. But
Right.
if you go up to a border and you are being threatened at home, which we are now, they have to take you because of the agreements that the entire planet has signed for political refugee status. Okay, and Canada is well known for taking in people. They've taken in trans people from the Mideast because of the threat that they have against their lives. So I don't care if you have a passport or what. Cross that border and say I'm declaring political refugee status. They have to be okay with you.
But they have to give you the process. I don't know if they're going to have their heads purposefully shoved up their ass. I don't know, because on one hand, Dad is having a hard time convincing politicians from the Netherlands that America is not safe for trans people. Like, 2025, Project 2025 is a conspiracy theory. You're a tinfoil hat person. When it's more or less, I think the politicians know. And I mean,
Except
way,
Project 2025 has printed copies that you can buy. So it's
I
not
know.
it's not some mystical thing that doesn't exist.
I know that as far as 15 years of Michelin commercial driving, just a few credits shy of an AS. I'm just 3 years, sadly, too old for a lot of countries, but not one that's at war. It can basically immigrate out of and I'd have to marry someone, but as far as all that other stuff, I got it, and I could go to Ukraine and stay there indefinitely, because I need help.
Yeah.
Any help. And they don't want to kill me, or mind rape me, or make me worship Trump.
Well, Canadians I talk to who are people who are socially aware and active and stuff like that say that Canada has been preparing for a large influx of trans people from America because Trump is taking power. They know it's going to happen. I guess they said something
I
about
hope they're preparing in a good way and not a turn everyone away way.
No, it's Canada, okay? We're not talking the United States, it's Canada.
Well, and especially after their most recent election, that basically the the results of the last Canada election is they looked at what Trump is doing to the U.S. and says, fuck that, we're not having any conservatives in power anymore. So yeah, they've got their Liberal Party has the majority in Parliament now.
Well, I was a bit curious in what Grok had to say on this thing. So I asked, how much of Project 2025 has Trump implemented so far? And the conclusion it came to is, based on the evidence, a substantial little chunk of Trump's early second-term actions, likely over or half of his executive orders, draw from or align with Project 2025, especially on government staffing, immigration, and social issues. However, he's selectively avoided more controversial proposals like federal abortion bans that to maintain political flexibility. Claims of 34% to 70% are more rhetorical than rigorous, but they reflect a real trend. Project 25 is shaping Trump's agenda more than he publicly admits. Is for a precise number, yada yada. So basically, as for more information after that. But yeah, basically, if what the AI could dig up, yeah, he's following Project 2025.
Variety of
And that's
political.
rough.
That's Grok, yeah. And Grok tends to be both sides ish with its stuff. So if it's leaning heavily on one side, then he's heavily on one side.
A number of political reporters and those sorts from Midas Touch and all kinds of different news summary services are talking about what has been engaged and what has not. And they said that if they take a copy of Project 2025 and they start going page by page, everything that has been happening so far has been in that sequence. Okay, now I'm sure there's got to be exceptions somewhere, but they take stuff on in the sequence of it, and that's environments of the courts and stuff like that are going to determine whether it takes place, or succeeds.
This is true. I was just curious as to what it would come up. Sorry, Jenny.
Yeah, no, they're just trying to implement every fucking word. It just takes time. It's 900 pages.
So there's also, I'd say if I could, I would be out. If I could, I'd be out of the country by the end of May. Here's the checklist. Now there's 4 stages to a proper Russian fucking of a country. There's demoralization, where they change the nation to society. Well, the party of Ronald Reagan is now the party of Vladimir Putin. Check. Then there's economic and diplomatic destabilization. That's what we're in. The third part is crisis. And that is a rolling supply chain fuck-up that is going to be sweeping the country over the next month. And crisis lasts between a month to 3 months. And then you have normalization, which you never really want, because that was a thumb coined by Brezhnev after he put down an uprising in Hungary. So if I could, I would want to be out of the country physically by the end of the month. I don't know, I'm probably the only one on panel. Maybe Mage might also have a passport, I don't know, but
I don't have
on
a passport.
panel, I'm the only one I know for sure that has a working passport.
Yeah, I don't have a passport.
Yeah, political refugee status does not depend on whether or not you have a passport.
Much is good for those who don't have one.
I have also heard reports up from the border from people who had happened to that they're trying to come into the United States as citizens, and they get delayed by hours and hours and hours. They're not just let through; that they're just questioned to death, like they're criminals.
Oh, fuck! They're doing that also by vote. Can you
By who?
imagine if I left the country and they wanted to examine my phone? So if I left the country and then came back, and they would have a whole shitload of phone numbers. Some of them we know, some of them are quite famous, and others are members of the Family of Liberty, resistance organization. So if I left the country, I wouldn't be able to come back without compromising a fuck ton of people's phone numbers, because they download the contents of your phone if they want to.
Make hard copies of those items and leave them at home or in somebody else's care, because that kind of information needs to be saved and propagated, given to everybody. That's the way you get protected with it.
Well, not phone numbers. I can't give certain phone numbers out. I could put them on some remote place where hopefully the authorities wouldn't be able to get them and then retrieve the information later. But I mean, that's a fucking cloud, and they probably already have that.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. You create a hard copy, and you lock it in. You lock it in the molding in the wall of your bedroom. You take the molding off and cut a hole in there and store it in there and put the molding back on. You know,
I don't have a bedroom anymore. I'm basically homeless.
Don't stop it. Come on, stop it. Okay, you're making details when you understand the concept that I'm putting past. That's just such a waste of time.
I got you. And for anyone involved, I got all the phone numbers and contacts legitimately from people giving to me. I didn't spam anybody. I didn't do anything I've been falsely accused of by some people who were butthurt I went on a trip. I'm not going to name names. All the information I got from the people who actually wanted me to have it. So let's have no repeat of behind-the-scenes drama.
I also think that it's very important that all of us who are online and doing panels or shows or whatever, that we strongly recognize that the FBI wants, and the NSA of today wants to know everything there is to know about us, and are copying every one of our conversations because they have this server space for it. Okay, and they want every detail on every one of us. And whatever we're saying on here, I guarantee you they're tracking. You got little machines that can recognize certain words and throw up flags, and then they go after this guy or that guy.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Unfortunately, with AI, they now have an ability to scan most of the stuff, whereas before it would have just taken them too much to go through all of it.
No, it's scanned in real time.
That's why I'm saying that, now they can do that.
Well, I'm pretty sure since the Russians tried to hack me at the border of Ukraine when they compromised Tiny Captain's. Tiny Captain let the ship that he was captaining be known. So then the Russians used that information to find out who the captain was, and then they found out the captain's phone number. And then they used an old-fashioned hack. They had hijacked his account, and when I hit the border to Ukraine, his account started sending malicious exe files to everybody, including me. So I know they already know who I am, because they knew the exact moment I got to the border. So now that Tulsi is working with the Russians, they do know who I am, unfortunately. And I'm just guessing that's how Tiny Captain actually had the two-factor authentication, so he was actually able to reclaim his account. But I know everyone who I don't want to know who I am already does.
Back in the 70s, at our last your revolution, political upset of the culture. The FBI was after all sorts of people, from Abby Hoffman down to your neighbor, and it was known that if the FBI had a file on you, that they had to say so. They didn't just have to give it to you, but they have to say that yes, we do. But now we found out that if you go and say, "Do you have a file on me?" and they don't, they do now.
They create one.
It's like you're fucked no matter what you do these days.
Oh,
Well,
just a little bit, that's a little bit more. If I was doing it more than just morbid curiosity, is what the AI would generate. Does give me a bunch of links that it's working off of. So I would at first start by looking through the links that it gives me there, and then I would take the information that it's saying, and then do my own searching to double check what it's saying. And that would be how I would fact check it, not just going with what the AI says.
There was a guy who did
and I couldn't what you're going to say. I'm sorry, the mental ways.
there was a guy on TikTok who did a show on surveillance and all that kind of issue, and they were a white hat hacker. And if you don't know, white hat hacker, folks, is a person who hacks but does it for quote unquote good, which you can of course abuse the definition of, but nonetheless, to prove to the audience how easy this is, he picked a certain particular guest and he tracked them down during the show within minutes. Every piece of information about him, and they would start to read off, not enough for us to be able to make the life hard for the guy, but enough that he recognized what they're talking about, and he was just mouth open. How do they know that? It's dicey out there, folks. It is bad.
And everybody who does it feels they have a good reason.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Even the crazy QAnon assholes who quite simply put the scum of the earth in as evil as hell. They think they're doing good when they're not.
Nobody thinks they're the bad guy.
Oh, no, of course. The bad guy never thinks the bad guy.
It's an interesting thing in
Now,
writing stories.
Yep.
Now, AI, it's not always a bad that you in a general direction. I've prepared things with AI, and ChatGPT has blurted out insights that I didn't even ask for. And they were perfectly valid.
Yeah, you can get valid information.
ChatGPT is the only one that I've actually used.
Yeah, you can get valid information. Yeah, you can get valid information. You just want to just double check it, make sure it's accurate.
Yeah, the main problem with ChatGPT and that is it will give you information based on what it finds on the internet. But if it doesn't find anything, it will make up an answer.
Yeah.
Also, people play the word game just like they played it with Google to Google somebody and get their thing up to the number one response. Is they're writing articles about this or that which are completely untrue, but what they want the AI to lean. And if they produce enough of those, they can get the AI to start thinking whatever they're saying is the fact, and what we're saying is not. So it's being fucked with that way too.
I did notice that ChatGPT became a lot more sensitive to the feelings of orange assholes after he took power. So I couldn't get it to just write negative articles about Trump anymore. I had to use euphemisms like orange clown to get it to write the outline of songs, and it was picking up that I was likely talking about a politician, but then it reasoned, well, then I got the I just said clowns, and it says Well, this is not specific or hateful to anyone. So there's the word clown, but not with orange, because it figured out which clown was orange.
There have been people who have been putting together just absolutely beautiful AIs of characterizing Trump as this or that. They're of course exaggerations and not true based on their exaggeration. They're still fun to look at. There's one
Yeah.
somebody put together where he looks like he weighs about 500 or 600 pounds, and he's sitting at the table just chowing down on his McDonald's and stuff. And again, it gets worse from there. And I
Yeah.
love them. They're so well done.
Well, the problem is, like Jenny was saying, it depends what they were trained on. And unfortunately, most of the AIs have been trained on Facebook and Twitter.
Okay.
So they're going to have that same type of bias.
No, I'm not talking about a message bias. I'm talking about the quality of the illustration itself. That of course, it's an AI image, but it is so well done and it's so photorealistic. It feels like you're looking at a real thing, and that just helps the impact of it, even if it's not true.
Yeah.
It still looks amazing. I'm gonna put one of those in the DMs. I just feel the need to share this more.
And apparently it's good enough to fool Trump.
MS Paint with standard text is good enough to fool Trump.
Yeah, helletic lettering.
Yeah.
That.
Oh, and
Yeah.
I did find out he actually did see the image. It wasn't just something that was told.
Oh, he produced a copy of the image himself.
Yeah. It's like, okay, this is actually it's equivalent to his little marker thing with the hurricane.
Yep. Well, what if we just nuke the hurricane? Well, now he doesn't have to worry about hurricanes since they fired everyone from the National Weather Service.
Not everyone, only about 40%. But it's still going to hurt them badly because they can't throw up weather balloons twice a day anymore, which is really the number one data input that they need.
Yeah, it's definitely going to hurt the accuracy, especially a longer term forecast.
I'm scared for you guys in Florida.
Well, and again, it's one more thing that will hurt the economy because the long-term forecasts, are what the farmers and the people, who buy commodities depend on. So if they can't have a good idea of what next year's harvest will be, it's likely to increase food prices.
Yeah, that's true. I love the McDonald's logos on this.
Okay, I saw the other one of him in the Pope outfit. I hadn't seen this one.
And there's another one of him where he's like in a prison jumpsuit, and on this table that he's sitting at, there's just tons of McDonald's stuff, and he's just cramming it down that throat. You can see food spattered all over his face and the walls, and it's just like he's a real animal going after it. And again, he looks like he weighs as much as this picture we just saw.
Oddly enough, last night I was dreaming that a Burger King was put up right across the street from me, and we were trying to figure out how the hell they were legally be able to build the thing since it's in a residential section.
Well, money changes zoning.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
been
you
true
can
forever.
get building permit for anything if you've got enough money.
That was just a dream I had last night. I was like, "What is this thing here?"
That was the topic of the very first political efforts that I got involved with back when I was a kid in like 67, 68. There was this alderman who was a contractor, building homes and stuff, and it was well known that he was on the take, but nobody could prove it. Clarence Miller was his name, and he did some zone manipulation, which allowed federal subsidized housing to be built in many of these new neighborhoods with their brandy new houses that they just built. And although the houses blended in just fine, people didn't like it because it was well, there's going to be black people that come in there, so they wanted to prevent it. And that motherfucker changed the zoning so that could happen. And it was always wondered who paid him. We weren't as sophisticated back then on how to investigate these things and that, but it was just known. People knew it. And it was, what a prick. He's long dead.
Yeah. Well, part of what makes this such a nice place for me to live in is, while this is subsidized housing, it is on the edge of a, what was obviously a 70s planned suburban district. And it's right across the street from a city park. So they had to make, they have to keep the area so it looks respectable for the neighbors there.
Oh, okay, there we are.
Yeah, I got voted for some reason. Just what the fuck?
There we go. Now Mage has got Jenny in stereo. But which one's the real one? Which one will you kick?
Here, that's the real one.
I had an evil twin. I had to kill him, of course. To this day, I still wonder if I might have shot the wrong one.
That is
Jenni
so.
Morgan, please stand up. Please stand up.
What did I do?
Okay, I'm not going to be able to hang around for too much longer because I still got a lot of stuff I got to do this evening.
Shall we just wrap this up then?
Well, if anybody has anything else they want to say, or
yeah, I'd like to just sum up all my ramblings and panic and stuff. Yeah, folks, I know I talk about this a lot and I'm very concerned, but this is what my life is, political activism. And there are some topics that cannot be put aside, but must be dealt with because human life is at stake. And that's a position we're in right now, as I said earlier. If you don't want to take me seriously, follow that link and rabbit hole that link that we gave you on those articles and see what's really going on with us. It's awful. It's just awful what's happening to trans people.
yeah,
and none of it was that way for the last 50 years. It's only been since Trump's days. Okay, it's not us, it's them.
Yeah, and I support everything Jenny's been saying 100%, and I'm actually scared. Something like a simple traffic stop, what could happen to me?
Oh,
because
yeah.
in addition to being trans, I have this tattoo on my arm that is just an abstract symbol that only about a dozen people know what it is. So any cop could claim that's a gang symbol.
Post it with its correct name of what it is, and that'll be some evidence that you have in the future if you need it.
That could very much dox me though, because it is, a unique thing.
You don't have to say exactly what it is. Just say there's a tattoo on my arm,
right?
Just so they know it's there.
Where you can draw it and not tattoo that. So the tattoo.
But if I put the symbol out on the internet, then virtually anyone in the city could immediately identify who I am if they see it.
Because everybody knows this symbol?
No, because the symbol's so unique. So if I put it on the internet and somebody in the city sees me walking around with it on my arm, it's pretty easy for them to
They're going to know who you are if they know
on the internet.
Yeah. That's a toughie.
Well, all I'm trying to do is for you to set up some probable cause and denial of actions. If you have it on there and say no, it's not some horrible thing, and it's known on the internet, even you can take up to that and say, see, here's the symbol, this is the definition of it, and this is from 10 years ago. So you
Yeah,
can help
well,
protect yourself.
what I would have to do is when I go into court, have Molly bring in some of my late fiance's paintings that have it on there.
That'd work.
Yeah, that would make sense.
That this is the only thing this has ever been used for. She used it to sign her paintings.
And you also got to remember, in terms of prolifically propagating, you're not important enough. Nobody, average citizen doesn't care about you, about me, about any of us. And so,
Yeah, unless
just
somebody's making. Sorry, go on.
Okay, you're going to be able to throw up reasons not to forever, but it's up to you to protect yourself. You decided how to do it.
Well,
Well, and I'm
there's a
just
bunch
saying,
of crazy people who hate people for no damn good reason and devote their time to trolling nobodies.
well, and just because, being trans, I have already made myself a target. And also, yeah, I've been going to some of the local protests around here. So I'm sure that I have already pissed off some of my neighbors, and I'm sure that includes some of the people who live in the same building with me, because I know they were MAGA supporters. I'll say the majority of them. Yeah. Go ahead, Commander.
I'm sorry. Well, I want you to finish first. But like 10 years ago, I did something that would really piss people off.
Well, I've just, I know it is in my best interest to keep my political and religious views private as long as I am living in this building. Because while the manager is good, some of the neighbors I know would not take it well at all.
I got about at least 9 or 10 of my coworkers thrown in prison for espionage when I left the company I used to work. I went straight to the FBI. And a few months later, it was on the news that the FBI raided the department I worked in. Ew!
That would be gratifying as all fuck. I like it. I never thought I'd be having to fight for our democracy in my life.
Yeah, no, I never thought it would, come to this, that we would have a government that would so totally disregard the Constitution and, the basic citizens' rights.
And get on Twitter, folks.
I pretty much figured it.
Get on Twitter and start sending your representatives every damn nasty note you can think. They're not allowed to ban you because you are their citizenry constituents, and so they have to leave you on there. They will probably not read what you've written, but their aides certainly will. And it's important for the aides and stuff to know that the public is coming down on you too.
Yeah, but your representatives won't really know what you wrote in a letter, but their aides will make tally marks as far as what things you're in favor of and what things you're opposed to. And they'll be reporting to them, how many people are on which side of each issue.
That's exactly right. In the old days, it was let's count the letters. and let's count the phone calls. And they actually kept a tally, and that became the majority opinion as far as they were concerned.
And well, sorry.
Which is why people like the Million Mothers March, which never actually existed, got out a letter writing campaign from all these people who none of who existed, but it made it look like there was thousands and thousands of mothers there. After this, when there was really only about 7 or 8 people who got together in a room to create this fake. Republicans are really good at fakes, folks. You know, you've heard about the trend stuff. It goes a lot further than that.
Well, and even today, as far as the politicians will pay more attention to a physical written letter than they will to an email.
Yes, which is foolish because it still took the same amount of labor to do.
Okay, well, Commander, you have anything you want to plug before we go?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm gonna have to choose. I've actually, doctor didn't get back to me, so I've missed another day of work. I'll probably miss tomorrow too. And it's making me going to have to give my car to the bank so that I can stop paying auto insurance. It's not going to get rid of my car payments. I'll get rid of literally this doctor. I gave them the info they needed yesterday morning. And because of this that certificate thing, I have it what? I've missed 5 days of work. And I'm probably going to just have to give my car to the bank. And I do need help. Because if I don't have the car, especially if I lose, if they don't rate me, if they don't think the thing that my shrink has given me is good enough, I have to go to a shrink again and say, oh, by the way, I owe you $550 that I haven't paid you. Because I basically live in an area where even if you have covered mental health, no one takes your insurance if they're taking new patients. So I've been paying out of pocket for that. I owe them about $500 I don't have. And basically I have to ask for a better letter if this one's not good enough. I'm basically not allowed to move the truck. I'm at a truck stop in New Jersey. I don't want to open myself up to attack or anything by people might hate me. I need help just to make sure my auto insurance is paid. I'm basically going to stiff my car insurance, my car payment, and hopefully at least have use of the car until they kill car. But the auto insurance is something I need to be able to maintain employment. I do need help. I haven't worked. I missed work Saturday. Sunday was scheduled. Monday I was supposed to work. Tuesday. And now Wednesday is lost. Thursday is lost. And I've cut my mom's estate back for the money I've had to use to get back to the United States. So I'm not going to go to jail anymore, but I need help paying my auto insurance at least, because that's due in the middle of the month.
Have you checked out any of those companies that are like Walmart now offers car insurance? You can get it for like $29 a month.
I need to have all the bells and whistles because of the car now. In other words, it needs to have comprehensive. I will check it out, but I still need help.
The reason they can do that is because they cut out the private insurance agent who's been getting huge commissions off of you for decades.
Right, well, there's
But I have
there's Deep State. It's PayPal. If you can send under any money, please do so.
Well, I just got my welfare check, my Social Security retirement check, so I'll see what I can do about sending you something. Won't be a lot, but it's what I can.
Yeah, I've got to see what I have available yet. I've been putting off some repair on my van, but it can get through a bit longer.
I
Okay.
do appreciate any help that can be offered. And I hate to ask for it.
Well,
At least all my months, the money I bought from her is going to be called back. So I want out of prison.
well, Commander, I know, if you give people an amount and a date when you need it by, that may actually get people to respond faster.
Hey, people, that woman who attacked somebody's kid on a
three.
That woman who attacked somebody's kid in a park with the N-word and all sorts of other verbal and near physical abuse has made over $500,000 from total strangers because she's a racist.
Yep.
Let's see what we can do to help, Commander.
The 305 and I'm still going to be splitting my car payment, which is about $520, and basically a credit card I'm sticking. Basically, I had to stick a lot of people to make sure I got the money that had to be used from Mom's account to pay it back when we got back here. And Mom is coming back on the 24th, and we're getting her to a nursing home. And then probably work until I save up enough money. I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of my life without my mom and all that other stuff. Yeah, if you click in the link, you also figure out that there's other reasons other than turning in a bunch of assholes to the FBI 10 years ago and angering Russians that I'm worried.
Mm-hmm. Well, Commander, I definitely would encourage you, set up a GoFundMe and we will promote it for you.
Yep.
So that we can get you through this.
Yeah, you can link a GoFundMe to a you can link a GoFundMe to a PayPal address.
I'd set one up.
Okay, well,
I went from not having to ask to having a set show.
We understand.
Yeah, well, you get the GoFundMe set up and DM me a link and I'll, plug it wherever I go.
The PayPal that Deep State just posted works perfectly fine.
Yep, you can do that too.
I just did it.
Yeah, but the GoFundMe, not only does it show a goal amount and a date, but it gives you a chance to tell your story. And that's what, people will donate for things if they understand what it's really for. But that's the biggest thing that, if you're asking people to donate money, you need to be very clear about what the money will be spent for.
basically car insurance, possible payment if there's enough of that, and licenses. Keeping the insurance to keep the license so that the job can continue comes above all else.
Yeah, so that you can keep working and, hopefully that you can keep your car.
Yeah.
Okay, Mage, what have you got coming up this week?
Well, I'll be releasing. I meant to actually release my soonest song for the Looney Tunes thing today, but I overslept massively. I have my Sunday show at 8 p.m. Eastern, which is going to be themed on the Twilight Zone.
Cool.
I saw the second William Shatner episode on Twilight Zone the other day.
Oh,
I've
really?
seen it before, but it's just, you see the one of the airplane one.
Yeah, the 20,000 Leagues.
Yeah, constantly, but the other one you don't see, and it's pretty cool.
That's
there's
one of the
another
cool
one, yeah.
things. One of the cool things about watching the original Twilight Zone is there are so many actors who made their first appearance there
Mm-hmm.
that, later on became great actors. Ron Howard made his first television appearance in an episode of the Twilight Zone.
Yep, he was the little kid. What was it? Was the line that he said? I am not happy, or I don't like that, or something like that.
Yeah.
Bill
Yeah.
Murray, are you talking about in It's a Good Life?
The title of the episode, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. But Jack Klugman also played the commander of a starship in one episode of Twilight Zone. And that was his first time on TV.
Now, I don't remember if it was Twilight Zone or Outer Limits, or something, but I know I saw a thing with Jack Klugman and Robert Culp. Robert Culp is this alien and needs to find these glass and electronics filled things to screw on his hand for fingers. I was saw it when I was a kid. I haven't seen it since. So I'm confused what it was all about.
Okay, well, I'm doing good. Commander 401 could use some help. We have the PayPal link being posted there. If you can help her out with some money with car issues, apparently.
Yeah, well, Commander needs her car insurance in order to keep her job.
And we're just wrapping things up here. So hello and goodbye there.
I'll mention something, you guys. It's been getting on me the last week or so, and I've been building up to it. I'm damn near about to start writing again.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see if I can still do it.
Yeah. Next week, I'm not sure what's going to go on with me because, as I had mentioned earlier in the show, next week they're going to be doing our apartment inspections, and I really can't have them walking in on me when I'm in the middle of our usual show here because, like I said, I'd rather keep my politics and religion quiet about that. So, whether or not I am here or when the show starts will depend on whether they get to me in the morning or whether I'm sitting around all day waiting for them.
No, I can run things.
Yep. If you're up to it, Mage, I mean, I never want you to feel obligated. If you've got some reason, if you want to just say no, we can just skip a week if you're not up to doing it either.
I'm usually pretty good for it.
Yeah,
I know
you've always been.
I can't do nothing but talk smart and talk stupid. Sorry.
Yeah, but that's the amazing thing about you is that you can do both simultaneously.
Oh, look who's here! Canadian Ollie Man is here.
Yeah, that's who Mage was just answering about giving him the trying to give him the brief.
I love that saying that Canadians are using now, elbows up. That's just, hockey. I'm so proud of how the Canadians are dealing with this asshole.
Yeah, well, like I say,
Well, Donald Trump.
it really is all of the summaries I heard about the Canadian election. All of the newscasters have been saying that, yeah, people watch what happened to the U.S. and they don't want the conservatives in power anymore.
Yeah, I hope people get the message. I mean, this happened prior to us. This happened in Hungary, and they still haven't been able to get out of the thumb of that bastard. But all the
Okay.
LGBT people are in fear for their life.
Yep.
And there is a global organized conspiracy because wherever these conservative assholes take power, they usually suck Vladimir Putin's nuts. So just follow the gives right to the conservatives.
Just follow.
Don't vote conservative.
Just follow the lip prints and the dribbles of cum, and you'll get there.
Okay.
Gordy, Ali Man, Gordy Howe did have big elbows, and for some reason, all these different hockey players felt the need to ram their face into them. I just don't get it.
Well, they all admired his elbows so much they all wanted to kiss them.
I tried to kiss my elbow. I'm almost there. I'm just working on a little more.
I can lick my nose.
Ooh, I saw this girl on TikTok. Who had a talented tongue. You know, a lot of us can just roll our tongue. Big deal. And some people can turn it sideways. This woman could. She had a longer tongue than most people, but she could make it move like waves, like you're watching an oscilloscope. You know, the wave peak and valley, and it was really kinky looking. Come here, come to my house.
You know, interesting thing with your tongue. If you can flip it upside down, not everybody can, but if you can, and you just touch one side, you'll feel the sensation of the touch on the other side.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, I need to wrap it up here. So.
Oh, fine.
So we will. Well, at least most of us will see you next week. I can't promise.
You better be here, or we're coming to get you. I'll have to take the bus, but
I was gonna say. Okay. Bye, Al.
Good night. Don't get caught, folks.